You're here at the Fantasy Expertz podcast. I am Victor, your host. You call me Vic, or I also go by Freeze. That's a story for another time though. And this is our first episode of the Fantasy Expertz podcast. And I thank you guys for being here. So I've played fantasy football for almost a decade now, I think 9 years. And every single year that I've played fantasy football, I've been in a championship. So I feel like I can consider myself an expert. So what this channel is about is giving you my opinion on a week-to-week basis on fantasy football and also answering any questions you guys may have. Today's topics, we're going to cover the number one overall pick this year because it's a little bit crazy. Our second topic will be top 10 players in each position. And our last and final topic, I'm going to give you guys 5 sleepers that will help you win your fantasy league this year. Alright, so along with this Fantasy Expertz channel, there's a fantasy football league where I have a couple of like-minded people that I feel are good at fantasy football in the league. And frequently throughout the season, we're going to have people come on as guests and stuff. So that should make it interesting as well. Now, on to our first topic, which is the number one overall pick this year for fantasy football. Sorry, I have to take a sip of my apple juice there real quick. So this year's a little bit tricky because we have a couple of players that could all be considered for the number one pick. Of course, many of you already know who the players are. We have Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, and I have 2 more players that I think could also be considered for that first round pick. Which are Ezekiel Elliott and also Le'Veon Bell. I know, Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell hasn't played football in over a year, and many people think he's going to be rusty and stuff, but you guys forget just how good Le'Veon Bell is of a football player. Shut up, what was that? Oh, first round pick. Alright, got you. Alright, so the first round pick, like I said, it's like a blessing and a curse this year. You could go a lot of different ways with the first round pick this year, and you'll still be good, to be honest. Saquon is a whole different running back. Like, you can't go wrong picking Saquon Barkley. He's a beast, and he's only going to get better than he was last year. People are worried about the box getting stacked against him, but he just makes plays on his own. He's a freak. You don't have to worry about that. Saquon is a safe overall pick. I had the number one pick in one of my leagues, and I narrowed it down between Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. And I just felt as a pure runner, I had more faith in Saquon. And the stats for both pass catching between the 2 backs isn't that far apart, so that shouldn't deter you. Unless it is a PPR league, I'd go Christian McCaffrey all the way over Saquon Barkley. But yeah, the first up to 5 picks, you're blessed, to be honest. Christian McCaffrey, you can't go wrong with him. Great back. The offense is really around him, based around him. Alvin Kamara is the next running back. The only thing I have against Alvin Kamara is I wish he got more touches. He's a great rusher, but they use him more as a pass catching back. Don't get me wrong, he still had 800 rushing yards last year. But I know he could do better. Alright, so to be honest, if you have any questions like about the first round pick, DM me and I'll let you know which way you should go. Let me know who you guys think should be the number one overall pick. Is there a clear-cut pick this year? Who do you think is the clear-cut pick this year? Like I said, you can't go wrong, but if you have a different opinion, let me know what you guys think. DM me or leave a comment down below. So we're going to get to the 2 other picks that I talked about, Ezekiel Elliott and Le'Veon Bell. Zeke, the only reason, Zeke is a great running back, don't get me wrong. Zeke is a monster just like Saquon. The only thing I have wrong with Zeke is the holdout that he's trying to do to get paid. So that's the only knock that I have on Zeke. Other than that, he'd probably be 1, 2, and 3 up there with. I'd put Kamara down and put him in the top 3 with McCaffrey and Saquon. That's the only thing. That's the only knock on Ezekiel Elliott. And Le'Veon, I love Le'Veon. Le'Veon to me is the best running back in the NFL still. And this year he's gonna come show. He's gonna be well rested, and there's no rust on him. And he's gonna be a great back. Anyone that picked him up is gonna be juiced that they did. I picked him up with the number 4 overall pick in one of my other leagues. Oh yeah, by the way, right now I'm in 4 different leagues. So it's gonna be a little bit crazy this year. I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, so those are your top 5 picks that you could pick at number 1. Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, and Le'Veon Bell. So if you have any questions, like I said, DM me or leave a comment down below, and I'll get back to you guys on the next video. Alright, so on to the next segment. We're going to be talking about the top 10 players at each position this year. We're going to start off with the running backs. I just feel like the running backs, it gets thin after the second round or so. There's still some good backs in the third, don't get me wrong, but the most talented running backs are for sure gone by the third round. You're having trouble in the 4th and 5th round getting a good back. There's some sleepers out there. We will talk about that later. I feel like wide receivers just so much deeper this year, so we'll start off with the backs. Clear cut number 1, Saquon Barkley. Just feel like he's a different kind of back. He's a monster, just like Ezekiel Elliott when he came out. They just destroy all the other competition, and they're just crazy backs, and they're gonna get you that 20 points each game. Christian McCaffrey has a 5-yard per carry average, so he's around the low 200s in the amount of touches that he gets rushing. He did finish the season with over 1,000 yards rushing, so that's good. Lead running back in receiving too, so that's amazing. Clear cut number 1 PPR running back. This show will mainly be about standard. If you have any questions on PPR, I'll be glad to ask them. I'll be glad to answer your questions as well. Alvin Kamara is the next running back. The only thing I have against Alvin Kamara is I wish he got more touches. He's a great rusher, but they use him more as a pass catching back. Don't get me wrong, he still had 800 rushing yards last year, but I know he could do better. Maybe the departure of Mark Ingram will boost up his rushing yards, but Latavius Murray is there. I don't see Murray being as productive as Mark Ingram, but of course he's still going to be involved in that offense. Next, we have Ezekiel Elliott. Only reason he's this low is really just because of the holdout. Like I said, he could be a clear-cut number 1 this year as well. After that, I have Le'Veon Bell as my running back, number 5 overall. Le'Veon is back, and he is ready to take over the league once again and be that back that everyone fears, Le'Veon's not going to miss a step this year, and I promised you that. Todd Gurley is now running back 6. The only reason being is he's coming off that knee injury, and also the coach has already said that he's going to limit his touches just due to the injury, which is totally understandable. So we shouldn't expect those big games from Todd Gurley this year. And if you do get Todd Gurley, make sure you do handcuff Darrell Henderson, which is his running back. His backup running back this year, because you never know with those knee injuries, they could just derail your whole season. And without the proper handcuff, I had James Conner last year for a handcuff for Le'Veon Bell, because I had Le'Veon Bell number 1 overall last year, and I didn't handcuff Jalen Samuels as well, and it bit me in the playoffs because I had no running backs. So just make sure you handcuff your number 1 running back. Next, I'm gonna do James Conner. He's gonna be our running back 7, right? James Conner, amazing running back. He stepped into Le'Veon Bell's role and did not skip a beat. He was going crazy. He was on pace to put up better numbers than Le'Veon Bell did ever in Pittsburgh. The only thing that messed him up is that he had an injury, and it held him out for the latter part of the season. But James Conner is an amazing back, and that was his first full year as not full year, but his first year as a starting running back. So I'm assuming he only gets better in that offense. That system is great for running backs. Next up, I'm going to put Joe Mixon on the board. Joe Mixon is an amazing back. He had how many rushing yards last year? Let's see. Joe Mixon was 4th in rushing last season and averaged almost 5 yards per carry at 4.9. He had 8 touchdowns last year on the ground, which is amazing. Great back, great young back. So he's just barely getting started. Only expect to see more from him this year. After that, we have David Johnson. We're at running back 9 now. David Johnson, I liked him before the injury. Don't get me wrong. I don't know, he's just been a little bit iffy. He still finished as your running back, 9 last year. So he's still a top 10 running back this year. But David Johnson, just after the injury and also the offense as well, he just looked like a different back. He's still a good running back, don't get me wrong, but for him to get to his prior injury form, then I would rank him up way higher on this list. And then our last back, I believe, will be, let's see, our last back. Let me pick the last back. This one's a tough one for me. So we have a couple of backs right here. I have Dalvin Cook, I have Nick Chubb, and I have Leonard Fournette as the running back 10, right? So, by the way, Melvin Gordon would totally be in this discussion too. Just the Melvin Gordon situation just seems like he's further apart from coming back than Ezekiel Elliott is. So that's why he's a little bit more iffy. There's more trade talks. There's more he's talking about sitting out for the season. So Mel, I'm going to keep him out of this conversation. If not, he'd for sure make the top 10 list and make my list easier. But Dalvin, Nick, and Leonard are who I'm picking for the number 10. Dalvin, if he can stay healthy, will be an amazing running back. Minnesota has a great offensive line. I think if Dalvin can stay healthy, he will be a great running back this year, no doubt. From all that we've seen with him, definitely looking forward to seeing him stay healthy the whole year. Nick Chubb, I like Nick Chubb. Don't get me wrong, he looked great last year in those games for the Browns. The only thing that scares me about Nick Chubb is the fact that they have Kareem Hunt on their team. So don't get me wrong, the first half of the season he'll do you good, but when it matters the most, which is the fantasy playoffs, he's not gonna be getting the whole load anymore. He's not gonna put up those big numbers, I believe, because Kareem Hunt, we all know what he did in Kansas City, and he's a great back. So having those fresh legs come in the second half of the season is just going to be amazing for the Browns, and they're for sure going to take advantage of having a great running back in the second half of the season. So that's why I'm so low on Nick Chubb. Leonard Fournette, he's just like another Dalvin Cook. He's an amazing running back. He'd be a top 10 running back too, clear cut, if he was not injured. He's had a history of injury, so if Leonard Fournette could stay healthy, he's an amazing explosive back, bell cow back. He'll give you those 20 points a week. So that's why I'm iffy on the last pick. But the other ones I'm pretty sure on. Honorable mention will be Devonta Freeman. If he does get back to his form, he will be amazing in that Atlanta offense. He had a down year last year, but we're looking to see what he can do this year on the ground. If you have any questions on what backs to get after those top 10 backs, let me know. Send me a DM or leave a comment down below with what position you should get which back. I could also, if you DM me, I could let you know at what position, what round you should get certain backs. I can answer those questions for you, certainly. Moving on to the next one, we got the wide receivers. Excuse me. So wide receivers is super deep. There's so many amazing wide receivers in the league right now. I'm gonna tell you my top 3 favorite wide receivers right now. Top 3 is DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is quarterback proof. He's never covered. You can put 5 guys on DeAndre Hopkins and he'll always get the ball. DeAndre Hopkins is a guaranteed at least 10 points each week. He will never fail you. I can promise you that. DeAndre is probably the best fantasy football wide receiver you can have. Second would be Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is in that high-flying New Orleans Saints offense where they sling the ball every play. We know Drew Brees puts up 5,000 yards every season, so Michael Thomas is for sure going to get those touches, and he's for sure going to get those opportunities. Great wide receiver. Next is Julio Jones. The reason we don't have Julio up top, he's a great wide receiver like DeAndre Hopkins who can't be blocked. Julio just doesn't get those touchdowns, which is crucial in fantasy football. Julio will for sure get you your 10 points a week too. Puts up he averages 100 yards a game, so great wide receiver. You can't go wrong with him, but for sure doesn't get you those touchdowns on a week-to-week basis. You got little Calvin Ridley over there being sneaky, taking those touchdowns from him. Next, after that, I'm gonna have to put Tyreek Hill as our running back 4. Tyreek Hill, just crazy talent, super fast. No one could barely keep up with him. So, wide receiver number 1 last year in fantasy football standard. So he's just amazing. He's going to keep on doing what he does. And also, we know Patrick Mahomes is going to put up another 5,000 yards this year. Damn, sucks to be a Raiders fan, huh? Next, after that, we're going to put Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams has the GOAT. Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, so he had a breakout season last year. So we're looking for him to continue that success that he found last season. He's an amazing wide receiver in an amazing system. Those 5 guys I just mentioned, you can't go wrong. All or most are being taken in the first round, early second round. Next, we have Odell Beckham Jr. I honestly think he's going to be amazing in this new Cleveland Browns offense. I think he's going to be Baker Mayfield's best friend, and they're going to put on a show over there in Cleveland. They might have a winning season this year. Last but not least, our wide receiver 10 is going to go to Keenan Allen. He's also just a great wide receiver. Phillip Rivers is going to get him the ball more. Also, Tyrell Williams is out of that offense. We expect some uptick from Mike Williams too, but Keenan Allen is going to be the go-to guy. Hunter Henry's also going to be back too. Don't be worried about it though. Keenan Allen still clear-cut wide receiver number 1. Those are the top 10 wide receivers. Quarterbacks, we're going to start off with Patrick Mahomes. No need to explain myself. MVP of the league last year. Put up crazy numbers in fantasy. 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. People say he's going to regress. You don't have to worry about that. He's going to go crazy again this year. My next quarterback will be Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people are saying Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is going to be good this year, but Aaron Rodgers is. I'm looking forward to Aaron Rodgers in the new offense just because he could get a little bit more creative. That old Green Bay offense was a little stale. I look forward to him putting up some great numbers this year. We have Deshaun Watson as the wide receiver 3. As the quarterback 3. Deshaun Watson gets the uptick just because of Lamar Miller's injury. They have Duke Johnson as their running back 1 right now, and we all know he's a pass catching back, so that'll for sure push him up there. He's for sure going to be throwing the ball more, a lot with that guy out, Lamar Miller. After that, we have Matt Ryan, which Matt Ryan to me, year in, year out, he's like a boring fantasy football quarterback to have, but he'll put in those consistent numbers, and at the end of the day, that's all you want. He's been a leader in fantasy football the last couple of years. You for sure want to pick up Matty Ice in those later rounds if you could steal him. Great quarterback, consistent quarterback. After that, quarterback 4. That's our quarterback 5 right now. We're gonna go Drew Brees. Drew Brees just has an amazing offense. Will continue to get better this year. Slings the ball for 5,000 yards each season, so we're looking forward to that one right there. Just can't go wrong with Drew Brees, and he's always available in later rounds too. So let's go with Drew Brees there. Running back. What did I still say? Running back. Quarterback 6. I'm gonna go with Cam Newton. Cam Newton's coming off that shoulder injury. A lot of people are worried about him. Cam Newton always has the upside just because of his rushing now. I feel like he's gonna come back way stronger off that shoulder injury, which was holding him back last season. So he should be back to full form this year and put up those great numbers. What quarterback number am I? 1, 2. Sorry if you guys keep seeing me looking back at the computer. I just have a list here and I'm just reading off of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're at running back 7, right? So for my running back 7, I'm going to go Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is a good back. Sometimes inconsistent though, is what I've noticed out of Russell Wilson. But when he gets into his groove, he'll be for surely consistent. He's just like Cam Newton. He has that running upside. So look forward to him doing those crazy passes out of the pocket this year and getting those rushing yards like usual. And he just got paid, so he's going to be super happy to be on the field. So we're at quarterback 8, and I'm going to go with Carson Wentz. Only reason Carson Wentz is down this low, he's an amazing quarterback, but he's coming off an injury as well. If he stays healthy throughout the year, he could get back to MVP conversation. He's a great quarterback in that Philly system. He does great. So we'll see how he does this year. So we have 2 more spots available. A lot of people are high on Baker Mayfield this year. I'm going to put him back as quarterback 9. And only reason is I want to see him do good in that Browns offense. It's been a drought in Cleveland, as we all know. And that offense hasn't been good in a while. And he actually excites me, and I like the plays that he makes on the field, and especially with the addition of Odell Beckham and company that they got in the offseason. I can't name everyone off the top of my head, but Odell Beckham is the number 1 person. So, looking forward to him having a great second year. Hopefully he kills it. Let's see. In our quarterback 10. I am going to have to put good old Big Ben, just because the offense is always going airborne as well, and Big Ben always puts up reliable numbers. So a lot of people will argue Dak Prescott. I don't really have faith in Dak Prescott. We could argue Jared Goff or Tom Brady. in that position. But Tom Brady had a noticeable decline last year in his performance, so we'll see how he does this season. He's available in later rounds, so that's a good steal if you get him in later rounds. Jared Goff, just I don't know. He's a good quarterback. Just don't trust him to put him in the top 10. Don't get me wrong. He will put up good numbers regardless, week in, week out, but just not top 10 quarterback worthy to me. On to the tight ends. Let's see. Of course, clear cut, number one, Travis Kelce. Does his thing year in, year out. Most reliable tight end. People are picking him up in the second round, so he's a steal if he makes it past the second round. So choose your players wisely. George Kittle, tight end number 2. Only expect him to do better than he did last year. Well, not better, but expect him to continue the success he had last year, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo back. He's going to do great. You can't go wrong with him. Zach Ertz is our tight end number 3. Carson Wentz and him have a good bond, and that offense really has him as their number 1 wide receiver if you think about it, because other wide receivers aren't putting up that big of numbers. Let's see. Let's look at this real quick. Philadelphia's. Yeah, Philly's leading wide receiver will be Zach Ertz. So again, he'll probably go in the second round. After that, those are your 3 elite tight ends. So they're gone in the second or third round. You missed out on an elite tight end, really. After that, we're gonna go Evan Ingram in that New York system. And the only reason he has an uptick is just they have no wide receivers aside from Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate. So I'm sure he's going to be seeing plenty more work. He had a down year last year, but we expect him to return back to full form. After that, I like O.J. Howard in Tampa. It's a great tight end. He had competition with Cameron Brate. We have Jared Cook in New Orleans. Drew Brees likes slinging the ball. Jared Cook was amazing for Derek Carr. He was the number 1 receiver on the Raiders last year, so look for him to get at least 700 yards around there, a couple touchdowns. Njoku is our next tight end. Tight end 7 we're at now. Njoku's going to do great. Like I said, that high-flying Browns offense, they're going to be great to watch, especially with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. I'm going to look forward to watching that team a couple times this year. We're at running back. I keep on saying running back. We are at tight end 8 now, I believe. I'm going to go Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's coming off that injury. I believe Antonio Gates is no longer on the team anymore, so also the departure of Tyrell Williams, he gets an up boost there too. Very great tight end, athletic, does damage when he was in the game. Look for him to have a great comeback year. So we're at, which one are we at? We're at 9 now. This is where it gets a little iffy. So tight end 9, I'm gonna go with Eric Ebron. Even after the departure of Andrew Luck, I still like Eric Ebron. Obviously the Colts system uses him great. Led all tight ends in touchdowns last year. Jacoby Brissett's gonna have a big target in the end zone. So I feel like he might be helpful to that offense this year. And he should continue what he did last year. And our last tight end, we are gonna go, let's see here, Delaney Walker. So Delaney Walker was injured last year. And, I expect Delaney Walker to come off that injury and continue doing Delaney Walker things. He's going to put up great numbers this year. Hopefully he doesn't get re-injured. I know he is old, but if he regains that pre-injury form, he should be solid. Let's see. So we just got done with tight ends. I'm not going to do defenses and kickers. I think if you guys have any questions on defenses and kickers, I mostly stream them. That's a very streamable thing. There's a clear cut for defenses. We'll say Bears, Jaguars, and Rams, Ravens will be your top defenses, right? Kickers, we have Greg Zuerlein, Justin Tucker, Will Lutz, Harrison Butker, Gostkowski, and Fairbairn. After that, everyone's really streamable. It really isn't a top 10, if we're being honest, but yeah, I just gave you those. And if you have any questions on streaming week in, week out, leave a comment below or just send me a direct message. All right, that was a little lengthy subject there. And now we're gonna go on to the last and final subject. And I have 5 sleepers for you guys. So, in case you guys didn't know, fantasy football sleepers are those people that you target in the late rounds that are going to win your league in the long run. They're going to be #1 players that you got for a steal. I'm going to start off my first steal this year. It's going to be Donte Moncrief of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said, the wide receiver 2 does amazing in that Pittsburgh system. Donte Moncrief is a big body. They're Big Ben to target in the end zone. He's going to be basically like Juju was to Antonio Brown the year before. He's going to get all those touches, and he's going to be open more often than not because they're going to double team Juju. Our next one, we're going to do Darwin Thompson out of Kansas City. He's getting hyped up a lot now. He has surpassed Carlos Hyde on the depth chart. Also because Damian Williams has never been a #1 running back, and he's never got more than 15 touches a game. So I'm hoping, because I drafted him in one of my leagues, that Darwin Thompson takes over that running back 1 spot. And if he does, that's going to be an amazing steal because we know how that Kansas City offense is. Our third sleeper will be Darren Waller of the Oakland Raiders. He's a tight end. Tight end that some people are getting him 12th round, even in the last round, 14 or lower. Darren Waller's doing amazing in training camp. I'm a Raiders fan, so you can trust me. They're saying he's unguardable in camp, and he's an athletic tight end, pass catching tight end. And we all know Derek Carr loves his tight ends. We've seen what he did with Jared Cook, so look for him to be his replacement. I know we have Antonio Brown and Tyrell Williams in the offense now too, but he should do great. Derek Carr loves his tight ends. So our last 2 sleepers, we have Austin Eckler. I have Austin Eckler there just because he produces on the team even when Melvin Gordon is there. So with the talk of holdouts and we don't know what's going on with Melvin Gordon, is he getting traded or whatever, Austin Eckler is going to be clear-cut running back #1. Puts up great numbers, so pick him up in the later rounds if you can. He'll be amazing if Melvin Gordon does not play this year on the Chargers. And my last sleeper is going to be Kyler Murray, just because he has that upside of, let's say, Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes. We haven't seen what he could do in the NFL level yet. He could come out putting up those monstrous numbers just like they did. Similar type player, he's just a smaller player. Looking forward to see what he can do. I know that Arizona offense is a little iffy, but good flyer to take in later rounds, to be honest. I have one honorable mention, which would be Jay Ajayi. If Jay Ajayi can get signed by the Texans to replace Lamar Miller, he's going to be clear-cut running back #1. Put up crazy numbers. He'll get all those touches that Lamar Miller did, even with Duke Johnson there, because we know Duke Johnson is a pass-catching back. All right, I give you guys 5 sleepers to win your fantasy league this year. Let me know what you guys think of my sleepers. Let me know if you guys drafted them. Also, let me know who your sleepers are. Leave it in the comments below. Send me a direct message. So that's it for our show today. Thank you for joining the Fantasy Expertz podcast. Once again, I am Victor. Subscribe to the page if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what questions you guys have. Send me a direct message or leave it in the comments below. Follow my pages right here. And, until next week, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.